Hi, how are we doing? It's Ben from EQL Networks and Security, and today we're going to be looking at the latest 8 megapixel or 4K, yes that's right, 4K HikVision ColorVu IP camera. We recently did a video on the 4 megapixel version turret and was really impressed with that camera. If you haven't checked it out, I'll put a link to the video in the comment sections below. So if you're new to this channel and like what you see here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to hit us up in the comment section below. But let's get into this. To be honest, I'm a little skeptical as to how well this camera is going to perform, especially at night. So I'm actually really excited to see how this one performs. So the part number for this camera starts with a DS-2CD, I can't remember the rest, so it's going to be listed here. This camera is the latest G2 series IP camera and has the latest AI for detecting people or vehicles. I guess the benefits of the latest AI is that it's supposedly more accurate, so you only be notified when it picks up vehicles or people. So let's take a look at the camera. The camera is all metal apart from this plastic front cover and has a built-in white LED, a microphone to capture audio, and is also IP67 rated. This particular camera has a 2.8mm lens, but is also available in a 4mm and 6mm versions. This camera has a 1.2 inch sensor. Yes, that's right, a 1.2 inch sensor with a wide dynamic range of 130 decibels and an aperture of 1.0. So according to HikVision specifications, the 2.8mm has a horizontal field of view of 102 degrees and a vertical field of view of 52 degrees. Now I'm starting to notice a thing called DORI, or D-O-R-I, so not like the fish Dory, but DORI as in what it stands for is basically detect, observe, recognize and identify. According to this spec, this camera is able to detect at 96 meters, observe at 38 meters, recognize at 19 meters and identify at 9 meters. Now I'm not going to take those numbers too seriously at this stage, but we'll wait and see. So it also has this white LED with a range of 40 meters and a built-in micro SD card slot of 256 gigabytes as backup. The great thing about this is you're able to record directly to the camera instead of an NVR. What we're going to do is basically test this camera indoors against a color chart and then take it out and see what type of footage we get in day and night. So enough of this talking, let's go set up this camera and see what it's like. So here we've got our first setup. So this is with some lights on. Basically what we'll do now is we'll zoom in and you can see it's pretty ordinary. You do make out the colors. The colors are really good. They're pretty accurate. However, when you start looking into the corners of things, you just can't see anything. You can't really make out or identify anything, which is it's pretty poor. Let me just state this is straight out of the box, so no changes or settings have been made to the camera, but I can't see it improving it that much. If we go into the next shot, this is with all lights off, so this is a completely darkened room. What that does then is it then allows the white LED to pop up onto the screen, and then when we start zooming into that color chart, you can see now that it's actually gone a little bit grainier now, and also you just can't make anything out in those corners of those screens. So this next shot is the daytime shot. I'll just say picture quality wise, it's brilliant. It's spot on. Like it just looks so crisp and so sharp for a picture. But as I walk along here, and then if I freeze it about there, you can see, pretty much make out who I am, clearly see what colors and everything that I'm wearing. So that's probably about, I guess maybe 10 to 12 meters away from the camera. So yeah, it's pretty good. In this next video, what I'll do is I'll walk up to the camera and I'll stop about 4 meters away. So you can see it's really crisp, it's really sharp. There's a lot of definition there in the picture, which is really nice. I guess it's what you expect to see from a 4K or 8 megapixel camera. So what I'll do is I'll start zooming in on the license plate. So from here, you can make out the letters, clearly see what they are. Pretty sharp, or I thought it might actually be a little bit sharper than that, but it still is quite a sharp image. You still can't make out any of the other little smaller letterings around the number plate. So over here to the left, once again, you can see it. It's not super sharp, but you can clearly make out the identification of the number plate. I'll just zoom in over here. You can see these, what are they? I think they're cable drum roll holders. But you can see what they are. And we'll just zoom into the tree line. So this tree line's probably maybe, I'd say about 35 to 40 meters away, and we zoom in. You can still make out the leaves and stuff. It's not super sharp, but you can still make out things, definitions within the tree line. So this is the next shot. So this shot here is basically shot from an iPhone, just to give you a difference in comparisons between the two. But then what we'll do is we'll go from the iPhone shot to this. Now, this is pretty impressive. There is no other light around apart from what you can see in the top right and top left street lighting. Apart from that, like, it's completely dark here. And to get a picture like that, I'm really impressed with this picture. It's a great picture. But as you can see, as I begin to walk here, you still get all that motion blur. And when I freeze it, you can't make out a face or identify anything. And like I said, that's probably about 10 to 12 meters away. So you're not going to be able to identify clearly at night. It just still gives you that motion blur. But at this time, you're able to see and identify different colors of an object, and particularly a car that may be going around. Now, another thing is, like, you would have noticed, I've just circled here, there's some bats flying around. We've got a colony or a nest that's managed to find their way and make themselves a new home, but you can see them flying around. Like, you wouldn't be able to see the detail of bats flying around if this was a standard black and white camera. So yeah, really impressed. In this next shot, I'll come up close to the camera. So freeze it there, once again, 4 meters away. Not super sharp, but you can still clearly make some recognition and identifying features from this shot. So then we'll move in. I'll zoom in onto the number plate. So when we zoom in on the car, you can actually see it's crisp, it's clear, like, it's really sharp. Easily see what's going on here from a stationary object. We'll zoom over here. So that's probably about 20 meters away. You can kind of make out the unit number. Like I said here, it's getting a little bit grainy, but you know, it's still a great picture. So again, we'll zoom over to these drum roll holders, or whatever you want to call them. You know, pretty good picture, you know, considering this is pitch black. Tree line, once again, it's really impressive. So this is next shot is a zoomed in image. So if I freeze it there, you can still see, you can't make out who I am or you know, what's going on apart from what colors I'm wearing, but you can see the number plate it's clear. Now, just out of curiosity, I've turned it over here to the left just to give you an overall wide picture of what you can see. And then we'll try, and what we'll do is we'll zoom over here. So there's a car, you know, you can't make out any number plates, but you can clearly see what color it is. We'll go right over here. So that's probably, I reckon that could be about 50, 60 meters away. You know, you can't see any letterings there in the bins on the left-hand side there. So as far as it being an 8 megapixel, you know, you're not going to be able to zoom in and see, especially things where we're at night. So just to give you more indication on this side, if I just try and get it lined up, we'll do a little bit more zooming. You know, once again, you can't see number plates, even though it's an 8 megapixel camera. At that distance there, which is probably getting closer to about, you know, 20 meters, you can't make it out, like, especially on an angle. You just won't be able to do it. But the great thing is you can see what color car it actually is. This is getting on a bit further down the track. Once again, you just be able to clearly see what color car it is. So, but that shot there, that's brilliant. It's almost like it's day. But yeah, really great camera. So what are my thoughts on this camera? Look, I was a little bit concerned after the color charts and really doubted whether this camera was going to provide any more real benefit. But it wasn't until we tested this camera outdoors with a little bit of ambient light that I saw just how impressive this camera is. The footage is clear and crisp with amazing nighttime clarity. The ability to have full-time color to identify what someone might be wearing or what color car it actually was will greatly help in trying to see what's happened. As far as the dory specs are concerned, I personally don't believe those specifications are spot on, especially when you look at the recognize and the identify specs. During the day, if at night the object or basically at night if the object is standing still and not moving, then it is plausible that these numbers are correct. Or basically if you're lucky enough to capture that event on one specific frame. But a moving object at night, I find it'll be hard to recognize and identify those numbers. So this camera is great for detecting and observing, especially in the 2.8mm version. If you want to be able to identify and recognize an object, you probably need to think about what you want to capture and I guess use the appropriate lens to suit. If you have no ambient light around, such as a distant street light or any type of minimal light source around, the LED light will be on permanently, so you'll need to consider if you'd like this light on, especially in conditions where it's like near a bedroom window, for example. Overall, this camera produces amazing footage, but is it worth the cost? You know what? I'm going to do a comparison video between the 4MP and the 8MP ColorVu cameras in one video, so then you can decide if it's worth it. So stay tuned for that, and to make sure you don't miss that, click on the bell to subscribe. This will allow you to get notified of all our latest product reviews and tips designed to save you time. So that's it for this video. If you found this video informative, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and while you're at it, hit us up in the comment sections for any questions you may have. At EQL, we're always here to help and support your business.